In a quiet forest filled with buzzing bees and towering trees lived a big brown bear named Bruno. Bruno was strong, furry, and usually quite gentle, unless he was disturbed. One sunny afternoon, Bruno was taking a nap under his favorite oak tree. Birds chirped above, and a cool breeze tickled the leaves.
Ah, what a lovely day to rest my paws.
Just as Bruno began to snore, a little bee came buzzing by.
Bzzz. Oh, what a big bear. Maybe I'll rest on his nose for a second.
The bee landed gently on Bruno's nose, but suddenly,
Ouch! Something stung me.
Bruno jumped up with a roar. His eyes widened with rage.
Who dares sting me while I'm sleeping?
He looked around and saw the tiny bee buzzing away.
I'm sorry. It was an accident. Please don't hurt me.
A sting for a nap? That's it.
Bruno charged toward the bee, but the bee was too quick. It darted back into its hive, tucked safely in a nearby tree.
If one bee stung me, then I'll destroy the whole hive.
Bruno glared at the beehive. Without thinking, Bruno raised his strong paw and smashed the beehive. Narrator. At first there was silence. Then, a loud buzzing filled the air.
Our home, our honey, get the bear.
Hundreds of angry bees swarmed out. Bruno's eyes widened.
Uh-oh. Who?
The bees chased Bruno all through the forest. He ran over logs, jumped into bushes, and finally dove into the river to escape.
That was close.
Bruno sat on the riverbank, wet and tired. The sting on his nose still throbbed, but now he had many more stings all over his body. Just then, old Owl Oliver, the wisest animal in the forest, flew down from a branch.
Bruno, what happened to you?
A bee stung me, so I destroyed their hive.
So one tiny sting led you to destroy their whole home?
Well, yes.
Bruno looked down, ashamed.
You're right, Oliver. I acted without thinking. I let one moment of pain turn into a disaster.
The next morning, Bruno returned to the tree. The broken hive lay on the ground.
Hello, little bees. I came to say, I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't mean to harm all of you. I was angry and made a big mistake. I want to help rebuild your hive. I sure will.
The bees buzzed softly among themselves.
We forgive you, Bruno. Thank you for coming back.
With the help of the forest animals, Bruno gathered sticks, leaves, and honeycomb pieces to rebuild the hive. Soon, the beehive was as good as new. And from that day on, Bruno and the bees became friends.
And remember, Bruno, next time take a deep breath before you act.
And so, the bear learned a big lesson from a tiny bee.
Moral of the story. Don't let anger guide your actions. A calm mind can solve problems better than a strong paw.
Do not trust anybody. Once, a merchant was going through the forest with his camel. He left the camel in the forest as it was sick, and he continued his journey all by himself. It ate whatever was available in the forest, recovered soon, and was happy. The lion, fox, and the crow were living in unity in the same forest. They came to know about the camel and they inquired it. The camel narrated the incident, and all the four became good friends. One day, when the lion hunted an elephant, it got hurt very badly, so he stayed inside his den and could not come out. So the lion could not go out hunting. The other animals could not hunt, and all of them starved. The lion called the fox, the crow, and the camel. Mr. Fox, I am very hungry. Go in this direction and get me some food. Mr. Crow, you go in the other direction. Mr. Camel, you go in the opposite direction and get something. All the three of you must come back with food. Okay, you can go now. All the three, which went into different directions, could not get any food. They met again together and took a decision. Accordingly, they stood in front of the lion. Lion King, I searched everywhere, but could not get food to satisfy your hunger. So I offer myself as food, and you can eat me. No, my lord, the crow is too small. I will be able to satisfy your hunger. You can kill and eat me. No, your honor, I am the largest of the three, and I am the only one who can satisfy not only your hunger, but the other's hunger also. So you kill and eat me. Though each one gave their own ideas, as soon as the camel gave his idea, the lion and the fox pounced on him immediately. Moral: those who are cunning will always fulfill their wicked thoughts, however friendly you may be. If you trust others easily, you will naturally have to face unexpected difficulties. Even if it appears good at the first instance, when the time comes, the wicked person's nature will not change.
Once upon a time, in a dense and beautiful forest, there lived a mighty lion. He was the king of the jungle, strong and fierce. All the animals in the forest feared him, and no one dared to go near him. One sunny afternoon, after having a big meal, the lion lay down under a shady tree and fell into a deep sleep. His loud snores echoed through the trees. Nearby, a little mouse was playing. She was running around joyfully, chasing butterflies and leaping through the grass. Without realizing, she ran up the lion's paw, then onto his back, and finally down his nose. Suddenly, the lion woke up with a growl. "Roar! Who dares to disturb my sleep?" he roared, trapping the mouse under his giant paw. The poor mouse was terrified. She squeaked and trembled. "Please forgive me, O king," she cried. "I didn't mean to wake you up. I was just playing and didn't see you there." The lion narrowed his eyes. "Why should I let you go?" he said. "You are tiny and useless." The mouse pleaded, "Please don't eat me. If you let me go, I promise I'll help you one day." The lion burst into laughter. "You? Help me? How can a small creature like you help a mighty lion like me?" Still amused but feeling generous, the lion lifted his paw and said, "Fine, you may go, but don't come near me again." The mouse quickly scurried away and disappeared into the bushes. A few days later, the lion was walking through the forest when he suddenly stepped into a hunter's trap. A strong net pulled up from the ground and lifted him into the air. The lion roared and struggled, but he couldn't break free. Hearing the lion's roars, all the animals ran and hid, except one. The little mouse heard the roar and recognized it immediately. "That's the lion who spared my life," she said. Without wasting a second, she rushed to the place. When she saw the lion trapped and helpless, the mouse said, "Don't worry, Your Majesty, I'll help you." She climbed up the net and began gnawing at the ropes with her sharp teeth. She bit and chewed and pulled. Bit by bit, the ropes broke, and soon the lion was free. The lion looked at the tiny mouse in disbelief. "You saved my life," he said softly. "I didn't think you could ever help me, but I was wrong." The mouse smiled. "You were kind to me once, and I never forgot it."
Moral of the story: kindness never goes unrewarded. Even the smallest friend can make a big difference. Always be humble and never underestimate anyone, no matter how small they are. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel for more amazing moral stories. Until next time, bye-bye. Hi.
In a quiet village under the shade of a big mango tree lived two cats named Minu and Tinku. They were friends, but sometimes they argued a lot.
I'm so hungry. We haven't eaten all morning.
Me too. Let's go find something to eat.
The two cats searched the streets, peeped into dustbins, and sniffed near food stalls. Finally, they found something. Under a wooden bench, they saw a big, soft piece of bread.
The bread, look.
The bread! Yummy. Let's eat it.
But just as they were about to take a bite...
Wait. We must share it equally.
Yes, but who will divide it?
They both wanted to divide the bread, but neither trusted the other to be fair.
If you divide, I'll get the smaller piece.
If you divide, you'll take the bigger part.
And so, the argument began. As they quarreled, a clever monkey named Bobo watched from a tree nearby.
A tasty piece of bread and two silly cats.
The monkey swung down from the tree.
Hello, friends. I couldn't help but hear your problem. May I help?
Oh, please. We can't agree on how to divide the bread.
Yes. Can you make it fair?
The monkey clapped his hands.
Of course. I'm very wise. Let me do it.
The monkey broke the bread into two pieces, but one was clearly bigger.
Hey, that one is larger. What just happened?
Yes, that's not fair.
The tricky division. Relax. I'll fix it.
He took a bite from the bigger piece. He took a bite from the other piece. And again, from the first one. And again, bite after bite. The monkey kept fixing the pieces until there was nothing left.
You ate all our bread, we let our fight ruin everything.
Oops. I guess there's nothing left to divide.
The two cats sat sadly on the ground, watching the monkey wipe his mouth and climb back up the tree.
If only we had shared it ourselves.
From that day on, Minu and Tinku never fought over food again. They learned to share what they had and to solve their problems together.
Glowing star moral of the story: if you fight among yourselves, others may take advantage of you. It's always better to share and solve problems peacefully.
Long ago, in a peaceful village surrounded by fields and forests, lived a humble potter named Ramu. Ramu was known for his skill in making beautiful clay pots, big and small, smooth and strong. In his little workshop stood 3 special pots, each with its own personality. Ramu had just finished making 3 new pots and placed them outside to dry under the sun. Look at me. My shape is perfect. No cracks, no dents. I will surely be placed in the temple.
I'm too small. I don't know if I'll be of any use. Maybe I'll just carry some water?
I'm cracked. I overheated in the kiln. What if I'm thrown away?
Ramu came out, smiling warmly at his creations.
You're free already. Time to give you all a purpose. He picked up pot 1, polished it, and took it to the village temple. He filled pot 2 with water and placed it in his home kitchen. Then, he picked up pot 3, examined its crack and smiled gently. You will help me in the garden.
Time passed. After many days, pot 3 could no longer bear the guilt. Master, I'm so sorry. I fail you every day. My crack wastes your water.
Look around tomorrow as we walk home. Then speak again.
The next day, as Ramu walked home with the pots, pot 3 looked down. Along the path, only on its side, were rows of colorful flowers. Roses, daisies, sunflowers.
I planted seeds on your side of the path. Every drop you lost watered them. Now I gather flowers to sell in the market and gift to neighbors.
You mean I wasn't a failure?
Number your crack, my beauty bloom.
Meanwhile, pot 1 stood in the temple, untouched and polished, but lonely. People praise me, but no one uses me. I've never carried anything, not even a flower. One evening, the 3 pots were placed side by side for cleaning. I am perfect, yet I feel useless.
I may not be flawless, but I quench thirst. I feel full inside.
I thought I was broken, but I've helped flowers bloom. My crack is my gift. They looked at each other, finally understanding.
Each pot has a purpose, whether to hold, to serve, or to spill and give life. The world needs all kinds, not just the perfect ones.
From that day forward, the 3 pots no longer compared themselves. They celebrated their differences, knowing that true worth isn't in being flawless, but in being useful, kind, and proud of your role.
Moral of the story: we are all unique. Even our flaws can serve a greater purpose. Don't be ashamed of your cracks. They may be the reason flowers bloom in someone else's path.
In a small village surrounded by hills and forests lived a humble farmer named Ramiz. He was not rich, but he was known for his kindness and hard work. One day, Ramiz bought a piece of land from his wealthy neighbor, but the land was full of rocks and thorns.
It doesn't look like much, but with effort and patience, I'll make this land fruitful. What's this? A stone? No, it's something else. Aha! Maybe I can use it to store extra rice. What? I only put a handful in. Sita, come quickly. You need to see this. Unbelievable. It doubled.
One hot afternoon, farmer hits something with his spade. Dust rises. Next morning, he walks past the pot and sees it overflowing with rice. Ramiz and his wife tested it with copper coins, rice, and even mangoes. Everything doubled. Ramiz became wealthy, but he remained kind. He shared his fortune with those in need, children playing with toys given by Ramiz, an old man receiving rice from his wife.
We are lucky. Let's use this magic for good.
Neighbor hears the news, storms into the farmer's home.
That pot is mine. I sold you the land, but not the pot.
The neighbor was furious. He wanted the pot for himself. Both go to the palace. Guards allow them inside. The king sits on a grand throne.
You say this pot multiplies what's placed in it? Such a pot belongs in the royal treasury.
They demonstrate using a few apples. Next morning, apples double.
This pot will make me the richest king alive.
Despite Rami's protest, the king took the pot. King uses it to double his gold, silver spices. His greed increases. But the king used the pot only for himself. No one else benefited.
What's so special about this pot? Help! Somebody!
The king's elderly father sees the pot unattended. Now, there were two men, identical in every way, each claiming to be the king's father.
I'm your true father. He's the fake. No, I am. Don't be fooled. This is madness. How can I know who is real?
The king had no choice. He now had to treat both as his fathers.
My greed has cursed me.
King sits alone in his chamber, staring at the pot. What began as curiosity turned into obsession, and then into confusion and sorrow.
I took something that wasn't mine, and now I live in doubt.
Meanwhile, Ramiz continued living a happy, humble life, grateful for the blessings he had, magical or not. Greed may bring riches, but it never brings peace. The true treasure lies in contentment, kindness, and sharing.
Moral of the story: greed always leads to trouble. Be content, be kind, stay grateful.
Did you enjoy the story? Want more magical tales full of life lessons and heartwarming moments? Then don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to Moral Storytime. Tap that bell so you never miss the next adventure.
Once upon a time, in a quiet village, lived a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her father, who loved her dearly, but everything changed when he married a proud and selfish woman. Her new stepmother brought 2 daughters with her. They were just like her, vain, rude, and unkind.
Hurry up, Cinderella. Sweep the floor again.
They made Cinderella work all day. She cooked, cleaned, and slept in a tiny room near the fireplace. Her clothes were always dusty with ashes, so they called her Cinderella one day. A royal messenger arrived with exciting news.
All young ladies are invited to the prince's grand ball.
Ooh, I'll wear my red gown. You? And I'll wear diamonds.
Cinderella looked at her rags and sighed.
I wish I could go too. At the palace? Don't be silly.
After the others left, Cinderella sat alone and cried. But then, something magical happened.
Don't cry, my dear. You shall go to the ball.
With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into horses, and Cinderella's rags into a dazzling gown.
Remember, my magic ends at midnight. Be back before the clock strikes 12.
At the palace, everyone turned to stare. The prince couldn't take his eyes off her. They danced all night until the clock began to strike midnight.
May I have this dance?
Yes, Your Highness. Oh no.
They danced all night until the clock began to strike midnight.
I must go.
She ran down the palace steps, leaving behind a single glass slipper. The next day, the prince searched the kingdom for the girl who fit the glass slipper.
Whoever fits this shoe shall be my bride.
The stepsisters tried, but the slipper didn't fit. Then came Cinderella, but the slipper slid on perfectly. The prince knew he had found his true love.
Will you marry me?
With all my heart.
And so, Cinderella's kindness and courage led her to the happiness she truly deserved, and they lived happily ever after.
Moral of the story: kindness, patience, and courage can change your life. Believe in your dreams. They just might come true. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by rolling green fields, there lived an old farmer. He had worked the land his entire life. His fields were his pride, and his 3 sons, though very different, were his joy. But there was one thing that worried the old farmer deeply. His sons did not get along. They argued every day over food, chores, and even who should milk the cow.
You never help in the field.
Oh please, I fixed the fence yesterday.
And I fed the chickens. Twice.
Their voices echoed across the fields. The old farmer would sigh and whisper. Time passed. One day the old farmer fell very ill. He knew his time was short. He called his sons to his bedside. The farmer asked for a bundle of sticks to be brought to him. Son brings a bundle tied together. The farmer holds it out. The farmer untied the bundle and handed them single sticks. The farmer smiled. The farmer held their hands. After their father passed, the three brothers remembered his words. They worked side by side, shared their meals and laughter, and built the most beautiful farm the village had ever seen. And so, the old farmer's lesson lived on, not just in his sons, but in every field they touched. Because when hearts are united, even the weakest can become strong. Moral of the story: unity is strength. When we work together, we can overcome any challenge.
Once upon a time, in a peaceful forest where birds sang and butterflies twirled, lived a kind and curious little girl named Lulu. One day, Lulu found a giant tree with golden leaves, and it spoke.
Hello, little one. I am the talking tree. I only speak once every 100 years.
You can talk. That's amazing. Will you tell me a secret?
Yes, but first, I need your help. My roots are trapped under heavy stones. Set me free, and I shall share it.
Lulu didn't think twice. She rolled up her sleeves and started working. The sun was hot, and her hands were tired, but she didn't stop. Soon a little squirrel joined in. A bird brought drops of water. The forest watched Lulu's kindness and answered with help.
You did it, dear Lulu. You were patient and kind. Now I shall share the secret. True magic lives in helping others. When you give from the heart, you grow stronger inside.
Lulu looked around. The forest glowed with love. She didn't just help a tree. She found friends and discovered her own magic. Moral of the story: patience and kindness can solve even the hardest problems and bring magical rewards. Did you enjoy the story? Like, share, subscribe for more magical stories.
Once upon a time, in a peaceful village, there lived a kind fisherman. Every morning he walked to the nearby river with his old fishing net. The sun would rise, the birds would chirp, and the river would sparkle in the morning light. Like every day, he threw his net into the river and waited. Hours would pass sometimes, but he remained patient, hoping for a big catch.
Let's see what the river brings today.
But something unusual was about to happen, something that would surprise even the cleverest minds in the river. Below the calm surface of the water lived a happy community of fish. Among them was a small silver fish named Tintu. He was not the biggest or the fastest, but he was the cleverest.
Looks like it's fishing day again.
We should hide. That net traps everything.
We'll see about that.
The net slowly sank into the water like a silent shadow. Fish swam wildly. Some escaped, but many were caught. Tintu too was trapped inside.
Oh, this is not good.
We're caught. It's all over.
No, it's not. Not if we think fast.
Tintu looked carefully at the net. He noticed that the top was still open slightly, and if they could tilt the net, they might escape.
Listen, everyone. Swim downward. We need to push the net from the bottom.
Will that help?
Yes. Trust me. We can tip it.
With all their strength, the fish swam to one side. The net began to lean.
Now, swim out through the top. Quick!
One by one, they slipped out through the opening. Tintu was the last to escape.
What? Only a few fish? I saw the water moving so much.
He scratched his head, wondering how the fish had escaped.
Tintu, you saved us.
You're so smart. How did you stay so calm?
In trouble, panic helps no one. Think first, then act.
From that day, Tintu became the hero of the river. Young fish came to him to learn how to stay safe.
Tell us how you escaped again.
It's simple. Stay calm, look around, and use your brain.
Up above, the fisherman sat quietly by the river. He began to notice the cleverness of the fish, and slowly he changed too.
Maybe this river has more wisdom than I thought.
And so, balance returned. The fish lived happily, and the river flowed with joy. Tintu continued to help others and reminded them that brains are often mightier than nets.
Moral of the story. In times of trouble, don't panic. Think clearly. Use your mind. It may be the best escape tool you have.
Once upon a time, a shepherd owned a large, strong buffalo that diligently helped him plow his fields. In return, the shepherd ensured the buffalo was well fed and content. One sunny afternoon, as the shepherd led the buffalo to graze and rested under an apple tree, a hungry and cunning wolf spotted them. The wolf thought to himself, "That buffalo would make a delicious meal, but I need to deal with the human first." He approached them and declared, "I have a few questions. If you can't answer them, the buffalo is mine." Curious, the shepherd and the buffalo agreed to listen. The wolf asked, "Why does a powerful buffalo serve a human?" The buffalo replied, "Because I helped the shepherd plow his fields, and he provides me with the best food." Unsatisfied, the wolf inquired, "How can a shepherd make such a huge buffalo serve him? Is that a magic cane in your hand?" The shepherd responded, "No, it's not the cane that's magical. It's our wisdom." The wolf, puzzled, said, "Wisdom? What's that?" That's not an answer. Now, I can take this buffalo home if I want, but I'm very curious about this thing called wisdom too. The shepherd offered, "It's not with me. But if you want, I can show you wisdom on one condition." The wolf asked, "What's that condition?" The shepherd replied, "Until I bring the wisdom, I will tie you to this tree so that the buffalo will be safe while I'm gone." The wolf agreed, eager to learn about wisdom. The shepherd tied him to the tree and left. The buffalo chuckled, "Ha, ha," anticipating what was to come. After some time, the shepherd returned with a large box. He opened it and said, "Here's the wisdom." The wolf peered inside and saw nothing. "It's empty," he exclaimed. The shepherd explained, "Wisdom is too precious to fit in a box. It's in the mind, and you can only find it by searching for it like hidden treasure." Realizing he'd been tricked, the wolf pleaded, "Help! Help!" The shepherd had taught him a valuable lesson. Never underestimate or disrespect others.
Moral of the story: true strength lies in wisdom and kindness. Don't let greed cloud your choices. Be thoughtful, be fair, be smart. For more inspiring stories full of lessons and laughter, like, share, and subscribe to Moral Storytime. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a magical new tale. Thanks for watching. See you in the next adventure. This is a story of a hard-working fisherman named Sunil and a lazy beggar named Anil. A fisherman, Sunil, used to earn his living by selling fishes at the markets. He used to wake up early in the morning and go to his work to collect the fishes in the river. One day, while Sunil was going to the river to collect the fishes, he met a lazy beggar named Anil. Anil was so lazy that he would always look for an easier way to feed himself. When he saw Sunil, he asked him some money to have food, and without knowingly, he gave him some amount, which Sunil was having. Next day, Sunil again met Anil, and he asked some more amount to have food. So Sunil told Anil, "How many more days will you be begging like this? Why you do this begging work instead of this? Work properly and earn your livelihood." Hearing Sunil's words, the lazy beggar felt insulted. That night, Sunil did not get sleep thinking of the lazy beggar Anil, and thought to teach Anil a lesson to work hard instead of begging. Next day, again, Anil asked some money to Sunil to have some food, as he was hungry. So Sunil gave him amount to have food and told Anil to meet him tomorrow at the end of the seashore for a reward. Anil was excited. Next day, before the sunrise, Anil woke up early and was excited for the day, as he is going to get a reward from Sunil. He was waiting near the seashore where Sunil used to collect fishes. Sunil was surprised to see when Anil was waiting for him. He met Anil and said, "Oh, what a surprise! Now it's time for you to give reward, but you have to wait for it and to do some helping work along with me." So Sunil told to Anil to drop the net to collect some fishes, and Anil did as Sunil told. Anil wanted the reward as much as early and want to run from here, and he was asking Sunil for the reward, but Sunil said Anil to wait. Then Anil collected many fishes. Sunil felt very happy to see the beggar has done such a good job, and told the lazy beggar Anil that what the fishes he had collected was for himself, and told him to sell it. When he got to know about this was his reward from Sunil, he was not sure about this. But Sunil told him to earn your livelihood by yourself like this, instead of begging. Sunil wanted to teach a lesson to Anil that if we do hard work, we can succeed in our life. And this was the most remembered lesson for Anil, and thanked Sunil to teach a lesson for Anil without arguing.
Moral of the story: hard work is the best medicine for success in life, no matter how small the beginning. Sincere effort leads to big changes, just like Anil. Anyone can turn their life around with a little push and a willingness to try. Remember, believe in yourself, be ready to learn, and never fear hard work. Your success is in your hands. Did you enjoy the story? There are many more adventures waiting for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Moral Storytime for more heartwarming tales and life lessons. And hey, tap the bell icon so you never miss a new story.
Once upon a time, in a humble village, lived a poor shoemaker and his wife, Gertrude. They had 2 children, Claus and Clara. Despite their hard work, the family struggled to make ends meet, often going hungry and wearing tattered clothes. One day, their fortunes took a surprising turn. The king himself arrived at their modest home, requesting the finest pair of boots in the kingdom. The shoemaker, honored by the royal commission, worked tirelessly day and night. He crafted exquisite boots of red and gold leather, adorned with golden buckles. The following day, the shoemaker set off to deliver the boots to the palace. However, at the palace gates, a servant stopped him, demanding half of whatever reward the king would offer in exchange for entry. Reluctantly, the shoemaker agreed. Inside, another servant made the same demand before allowing him to proceed. When the shoemaker finally presented the boots to the king, His Majesty was delighted and offered 20 gold coins as payment. But the shoemaker declined the money, instead requesting 40 lashes with a whip. The king was astonished. Why would you, a poor man, refuse gold and ask for punishment? He inquired. The shoemaker explained, your servants demanded half of whatever reward you would give me. I wish for them to receive their fair share. Realizing the deceit of his servants, the king ordered that each receive 20 lashes. He then rewarded the honest shoemaker with a generous sum of gold, ensuring his family's comfort.
Moral of the story. This tale teaches that honesty and cleverness can triumph over greed and corruption. Standing up against injustice, even at personal risk, can lead to greater rewards. Wisdom and honesty can outsmart greed and dishonesty. Always stand for what is right. Backhand index pointing right. If you enjoyed this clever tale, please like, share, and subscribe to Moral Storytime for more inspiring stories full of life lessons. Bell, and don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss our next magical adventure.
It was the peak of summer. The sun blazed high in the sky, and the ground was cracked and dry. Trees stood still, their leaves drooping with exhaustion from the scorching heat. Birds flew slowly, searching for shade and water. Among them was a black crow, flapping its wings weakly as it soared through the sky. This crow had been flying for hours, searching desperately for water. Its throat was parched and its body was tired. The crow thought to itself, if I don't find water soon, I might not survive this heat. As it flew over fields, farms, and rooftops, the crow spotted a small garden next to a cottage. Maybe there's water down there, the crow hoped, and quickly swooped down to the ground. In the middle of the garden, beneath the shade of a large tree, the crow noticed a clay pitcher sitting beside a stone bench. The crow's eyes lit up with excitement. It hopped over to the pitcher and peeked inside. Yes! There was a little bit of water at the bottom. The crow tried to reach it with its beak, but the water was too low. No matter how much the crow tilted or stretched, it couldn't reach the water. The crow looked around. I must drink this water. But how? At first, it tried tilting the pitcher, pushing it with its beak and claws, hoping the water would spill out. But the pitcher was too heavy and sturdy. It didn't move an inch. Then the crow sat beside the pitcher, thinking hard. It watched as a pebble rolled down from a nearby flower bed. That gave the crow an idea. What if I drop pebbles into the pitcher? The crow thought. Maybe the water will rise. Without wasting time, the crow picked up small pebbles with its beak and dropped them into the pitcher one by one. With each pebble, the water level slowly rose. The crow worked patiently, never giving up. After several minutes, the crow looked into the pitcher. The water had risen high enough. Overjoyed, the crow dipped its beak in and finally quenched its thirst. The cool water refreshed its dry throat, and the crow felt energized once again. The crow looked up at the sky and gave a happy caw. It had succeeded, not by strength, but by clever thinking and persistence.
Moral of the story. Where there is a will, there is a way. This story teaches us that intelligence and determination can solve even the most difficult problems. Instead of giving up, we must think creatively and stay patient, just like the clever crow. Did you enjoy the story of the clever crow? There are many more heartwarming tales full of life lessons waiting for you. Please like, share, and subscribe to Moral Storytime for more inspiring and educational stories for kids. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a magical new adventure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next story. Bye-bye.
A long time ago, there lived 3 friends, a tortoise, a deer, and a woodpecker, in a forest surrounded by a lake. They were very close and spent time playing with each other. One day, a hunter came to the forest. The hunter, who had just arrived in the forest, was delighted to see the footprints of a deer near the lake. He followed the footprints and set a huge leather trap along the lake's edge. At late night, the deer felt thirsty and visited the lake, but unfortunately, he fell into the trap. The deer was shocked by the massive trap and cried out of fear and pain, "Please, someone help me, I have been trapped." The woodpecker noticed the sound and flew down from the top of the tree. The tortoise too heard his friend's voice and came out of the lake to discover what exactly had happened. Both of them were horrified to see the trap. The woodpecker suggested the tortoise chew the trap with his teeth to set their friend free. As the tortoise was busy rescuing the deer, the woodpecker flew away to find out the hunter's house to keep him engaged. When the woodpecker located the hunter's house, she flew over the hunter's head and started pecking. The hunter cried out in extreme pain and tried to flee through the back door. But yet again, the clever woodpecker was already aware of the situation and continued attacking him. The hunter was startled and stayed in his house for a while. When he mustered up the courage to come out and kill the bird with a knife, the woodpecker flew back hurriedly to her friends and yelled, "Beware! The hunter is approaching!" The tortoise had already gnawed away at the leather trap, helping the deer to escape. The deer ran into the forest and the woodpecker flew up to the treetop. However, the tortoise was so tired that he could not get away. The hunter picked him up and put him in a bag, which he tied to a nearby tree. When the deer saw his friend getting captured, he thought of a plan and slowed down to let the hunter see him and release the tortoise. The hunter started chasing the deer with his knife, but the deer was too fast to be caught. The hunter entered the deep forest while following the deer and lost his way in the woods. The deer quickly got out of the forest and reached the lake. He tore open the bag where his tortoise friend was trapped. Using his sharp horns, the tortoise was rescued, and there was a little reunion as the woodpecker joined them. The deer asked his friends to hide in the forest until the hunter goes away. The tortoise hid in the water, the woodpecker flew away to her nest, and the deer hid in the thick woods. When the hunter finally found his way out of the forest, to his surprise, he found out that the tortoise had also escaped. He was hopeless and frustrated and determined not to return to this forest and lake again. Finally, the three friends were relieved and lived happily together for the rest of their lives.